Hello family, and welcome to Unveiling the Truth. Today, we're diving deep into a shocking revelation. UK care companies selling jobs, and leaving carers in the lurch. This isn't just a story of corporate greed, it's a story of dreams sold, and dreams shattered. Today's expose highlights the widespread concern for the abuse of the health and care worker visa system, leading to a surge in allegations of fraud, and modern slavery. We have this whole scoop, and lots more in this episode, hence make sure you watch till the end of the video, so you do not miss out on this very vital information. For our indefatigable fans and those new to the family, you now have the option to join to become a member of the family. For others, please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, let's get into it. Part 1. The Scandal. The Gangmasters and Labor Abuse Authority, GLAA, expressed its concerns about the abuse of the visa system, prompting more than 30 ongoing investigations into care agencies operating illegally. The exploitation of migrant care workers was also emphasized, with workers facing dire circumstances, and relying on food banks to survive. The issue was further underscored by the risk posed to residents in care homes, and the quality of care provided. Additionally, the illegal charges imposed by unscrupulous employers were highlighted, with workers being accommodated in care homes, but permanently on call and frequently unpaid for extra work and hours. The exploitation of migrant workers was described as an insidious form of modern slavery through debt bondage and labor exploitation, emphasizing the urgent need for protection and accountability. In a shocking revelation that has sent ripples across the UK, care companies have been caught in a scandalous practice. A disturbing trend has emerged, where these companies, in a desperate bid to fill vacancies, have been recruiting workers from abroad, charging them exorbitant fees, and then leaving them without pay for months. The heart of this scandal lies in the exploitation of migrant workers. Nurses hired from abroad to work for one of Britain's biggest social care chains have found themselves in debt. These workers were promised financial support and fair wages. Instead, they were met with lower wages than promised, and were charged with training fees and other costs for jobs that provide taxpayer-funded care for vulnerable individuals. Many of these workers, hailing from countries like India, were sold a dream. A dream that quickly turned into a nightmare, as they arrived in the UK only to face administrative delays, and the harsh reality that the financial support they were promised was non-existent. The recruitment process, facilitated by agencies, involved promises of financial support from the first day in the UK. However, upon arrival, these workers were told they would only be paid after starting their shifts, a stark contrast to what was promised. The consequences of these practices are far-reaching. Workers, many of whom borrowed money, and sold property to come to the UK, find themselves unable to leave their jobs, due to visa restrictions tied to their employer. This leaves them trapped in a cycle of debt and exploitation. This isn't an isolated incident. Across the UK, care companies have been exploiting the dreams of migrant workers for profit. The affected workers, promised a better life and opportunities, are instead met with conditions that no one should have to endure. This scandal exposes a dark underbelly of the UK care industry, where profit margins are prioritized over human dignity and fairness. As we delve deeper into this story, we'll uncover the layers of exploitation and the urgent need for reform. Stay with us as we explore the victim stories, the perpetrators behind these practices, and the impact on the UK care industry. This is a story of exploitation, dreams dashed, and the urgent call for justice. Let's pause for a minute. Are you currently enjoying the video? If so, then please take a minute to like, share and subscribe to the channel. Also turn on the notification button, so that you are the first to be notified when the next video drops. In Chronicles of Ola, we talk about life, living in the UK, immigration-related information and lots more. So please join the family and share the channel with your friends. Now let's get back to it. Part 2. The Victims. Behind the scandal lies the heart-wrenching stories of the victims. Migrant workers, lured by the promise of a dream job in the UK, only to find themselves ensnared in a web of exploitation and deceit. Worker 1, I was promised a decent wage and reasonable working hours. But reality hit hard. I found myself working 19-hour days, barely getting any rest, and for months, my pay was nowhere to be seen. Worker 2, the recruitment agency charged me thousands of pounds for this opportunity. I had to borrow money, hoping it would be an investment into my future. Instead, I ended up in debt bondage, struggling to survive in a foreign country. These workers, hailing from countries like India, the Philippines, Ghana, and Zimbabwe, were caught in a trap. Many arrived via a new visa scheme for care workers, only to be met with conditions far removed from what was promised. The exploitation doesn't end with unpaid wages. Some workers were housed in overcrowded rooms, constantly on call, and faced threats of deportation if they dared to complain. Worker 3, I sold my home to come here, thinking it would change my life for the better. But I've never felt so trapped. I can't leave because of my visa, and I can't afford to go back. The scale of injustice is overwhelming. These are not isolated incidents, but a systemic issue within the UK care sector, where dreams are sold at a high price, only to be shattered upon arrival. The voices of the victims paint a stark picture of the human cost of this scandal. It's a reminder that behind every policy, every business decision, there are real people whose lives are profoundly affected. Next, we'll uncover the perpetrators behind these practices, and the systemic failures that allow such exploitation to thrive. Stay with us as we continue to unveil the truth behind the UK care company's job-selling scandal. Part 3, The Perpetrators. As we peel back the layers of this scandal, we find at its core some of the most reputable names in the UK care industry. These are companies that have turned a blind eye to ethical practices, exploiting loopholes, and lax regulations to profit, at the expense of their workers. The Gangmasters and Labor Abuse Authority has made it their #1 priority to tackle this widespread exploitation, as reports of worker abuse in the care sector have surged. These care workers, often recruited from overseas, find themselves in a precarious position, tied to their sponsoring employer and vulnerable to exploitation. Illegal recruitment agencies have been targeting these overseas care workers, charging them thousands of pounds, and making false promises. Those found operating unlawfully may face prosecution, but the damage has already been done. The numbers are staggering. In the year to September 2023, nearly 144,000 people came to the UK, under the health and care worker visa route, with a significant portion being care workers. These individuals, seeking a better life, are instead met with exploitation and, in some cases, modern slavery. The exploitation of these workers is not just a moral failing, it poses a risk to the residents in care homes, and the quality of care provided. Expert opinion: what we're seeing is an insidious form of modern slavery, where workers are trapped in debt bondage and labor exploitation. The perpetrators of this scandal are not just the rogue agencies, but also the care companies themselves, who benefit from this influx of cheap labor. It's a system that thrives on the desperation of migrant workers, and the indifference of those who should be protecting them. In the next segment, we'll explore the impact this scandal has had on the workers, the care industry, and the UK's reputation. Stay with us as we continue to expose the truth behind the UK care company's job-selling scandal. Part 4, The Impact. The ripple effects of this scandal are far-reaching and profound. It's not just about the workers who've been exploited. It's about the patients who rely on their care, the families who trust these companies, and the integrity of the UK care industry. Public outcry has been swift and loud. Protests have erupted outside care company offices, with demonstrators demanding justice for the exploited workers, and accountability for the companies involved. The workers themselves have not remained silent. Strikes have been organized, with workers demanding fair wages, better working conditions, and an end to the exploitative practices. But the impact goes beyond the workers. Families who entrust their loved ones to these care companies are left questioning the quality of care being provided. They worry about the well-being of their loved ones, in the hands of overworked and underpaid carers. And let's not forget the residents of these care homes. They are the ones who bear the brunt of this scandal. The quality of care they receive is directly affected by the exploitation of these workers. The scandal has also cast a long shadow over the UK care industry. The integrity of the sector has been called into question, with the exploitative practices of some companies tainting the reputation of many. Trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. The scandal has eroded the trust that families, workers, and the public had in these care companies. Restoring that trust will require transparency, accountability, and a commitment to change. The impact of this scandal is a stark reminder of the human cost of corporate greed. It's a wake-up call for the care industry, and a call to action for all of us. As we move forward, we must ensure that such exploitation never happens again. In the next segment, we'll explore potential solutions, and the steps being taken to address this scandal. Stay with us as we continue to unveil the truth behind the UK care company's job-selling scandal. Part 5, Possible Solutions. 1. Transparency and accountability, implementing transparent recruitment processes, and holding care companies accountable for their hiring practices. This can include regular audits and inspections to ensure compliance with regulations. 2. Stricter regulations, enforcing stricter regulations to prevent the exploitation of migrant workers, such as capping recruitment fees, ensuring fair wages, and providing adequate living conditions. 3. Protection of workers' rights, strengthening the protection of workers' rights, including the right to fair pay, reasonable working hours, and a safe working environment. 4. Collaboration with stakeholders, engaging with industry stakeholders, including care companies, recruitment agencies, and government bodies, to develop and enforce industry-wide standards that prioritize workers' well-being. 5. Public awareness and education, raising public awareness about the issue, and educating workers about their rights and the risks of exploitation. As we wrap up, remember this: every job sold, every worker exploited, is a stain on our collective conscience. It's time to demand better, for the sake of our carers, our loved ones, and our society. That's all for today's video. We hope you now have more information around these topics that have been discussed. We encourage you to take that bold step towards your next career adventure. The UK awaits your contribution to its vibrant and diverse workforce. Not so fast though. Did you like the video? Do you have friends and family that need to know about these details to make their move to the UK a success? Then make sure you share, and share. Many of you only watch my videos, a whooping 80% of you, but haven't subscribed. Why not? Please subscribe today, and turn on the notification button so that you'll be the first to be notified when I drop more of this content. For those that want to support the channel, my PayPal link is in the description of the video. If you need a paid inquiry, make a donation to the channel, and send your details to my email, chroniclesofola@gmail.com. Shalom.